we got our top 5 for the Friday Night Locker Room. Guys, we're going to start off with Orville. Who you got in your top 5 this year, preseason?
Well, Zach, first off, let me say, last year we did this top 5. Is very, very good thing that went on SpaceCoastDaily.com. A lot of people went to it to find out what kind of mistakes Steve was making through the years. And it showed immensely early that he didn't know a lot about high school football. But we're going to try it again this year. He promised me that he would study more and he would pay more attention to the games when we actually call them. So I'm excited about listening to what his top 5 is, but he's going to let me go first. And we'll probably see that he's copied a lot of things that I've done. But
before we get into that, 17 consecutive years, nobody on Space Coast had ever selected a top 5 in week 1 and had it be the top 5 accurate at the end of the year. First time in 17 years right here. Back to you, Orville.
Well, last year I called a coin flip 11 out of 13 times. How many times did you call? You missed it. Missed it 2 out of 13. You didn't get it right.
So you're equating a coin flip, which is random, with the top 5, which all starts right here.
If you don't have the coin flip, you don't have the top 5. Thank you very much. My number 1.
No, start at the bottom. I want to see.
You're going to start at the... Well, stop looking at my page.
Yeah.
I'm going to start at the bottom if you want. This is a team that have made the playoff year after year after year. They have a head coach that's been there for many years, had a stellar program for a long time. He was beaten by Merritt Island 2 times last year, not to make the playoffs. My number 5 team, even though they went 7-2, my number 5 team is the Palm Bay Pirates. My number 4 team is a team that ran the table. Steven was in love with them. Had breakfast at Kevin May's house every Sunday afternoon, apparently, because that's why I always kept picking them. But I got Vera Hawk at number 4. My number 3 team, a 9-3 team, probably the number 3 team in the state of Florida in postseason appearances for the FHSAA. That's Jeff McLean and the Merritt Island Mustangs. Number 2, the Heritage Panthers. 8-4. The last 2 years, I think the Heritage Panthers have really come up the ladder. They've done a real nice job. I like Mark Ainsley and the Heritage Panthers. And there's nobody in Brevard County at the present time that can tell you there's nobody that's going to beat the Cocoa Tigers. They came in 11-2 last year. It's going to take a team from Miami to knock them out of the playoffs again this year. I have the Cocoa Tigers at number 1.
Steve, what do you got for your top 5?
Not bad.
And you want me to just read it again? Because it's going to be the same.
It's not accurate to say that I had breakfast with Coach Mays every week last week. Although 2 weeks from now, we'll be flying with Coach Mays in his private jet to Allen, Texas for the football game. That had nothing to do with me picking the Hawks very highly last year. And they're going to be good again this year. I actually have a top 7.
Yeah.
I have a couple of teams that are knocking on the door. And if you look at their records from last year, one was about 7-3 and one was 2-8. I had the Ticeville Terriers knocking on the door. They last year they were a top 5 team. Even though they lost to Cocoa last week in the Kickoff Classic, they showed glimpses of being a very good football team. So let's talk about the Terriers. Randy Hallett's War Eagles, 2-8 last year. You beat a team, I don't care as bad as they beat Bayside last week, they're very good. Are they as good as the score shows? Maybe not, but let's look out for the War Eagles. I've got them knocking on the door. I have coming in at number 5, the Vera Hawks. I like Coach Mays' kids. I may have them a little bit too low at this point in the season, but they did lose some players last year. We'll know more about them when they play Rockledge this week. I think they'll do well against Rockledge, but I have the Hawks at number 5. Number 4, the Mustangs from Merritt Island are the 4th best team in the county. Coach McLean, and we always use the phrase reload instead of rebuild, and that's what they do. They lost a lot of seniors last year when we were at Beefs a couple of weeks ago. Coach McLean said, we lost a lot of kids, but nobody's going to feel sorry for us. And that's true. They're going to have to come out and play. They beat a pretty good Sebastian River team last week in the Kickoff Classic. So I like Merritt Island sitting at number 4. I think Palm Bay deserves the number 3 ranking. Not so much based on last year, although they didn't have a bad year. They just didn't make the playoffs. They're gonna make the playoffs this year. They've got that focus. They've got the eye of not the eye of the tiger, the eye of the pirate, so to speak. You look at their spring game, look at their Kickoff Classic game. Palm Bay is going to be tough. They're going to be there at the end. I like them at number 3. second-ranked team in the county without question, the Heritage Panthers, right where they sat at the end of the year. They were the second-best team in the county last year, although we all said we would have loved to see the Panthers and the Cocoa Tigers played each other because they were just loaded with talent. But I like Heritage at number 2 and the Cocoa Tigers, who haven't lost in the county since 2008 to a local team. Until somebody beats them, they have to stay up top.
And you guys are going to be at the Rockledge and Viera game, correct?
The Rockledge Viera game will be the Friday night locker room game of the week. You can hear it on 89.3 FM in North Brevard, 90.3 FM in South Brevard, and as always on SpaceCoastDaily.com. We want to thank Tom Palermo for working Sports Center on Merritt Island every week for us to keep our stream up and going. We got calls from Korea, Chicago, Texas, and Ohio last Friday night when we were doing the Titusville game, people letting us know that they were listening and they could hear it crystal clear. So we want to thank Space Coast Daily, Giles Malone, Tom Palermo, especially Tom for staying up, pushing all of the buttons and turning all the knobs at our Sports Center on Merritt Island.
And Giles was in New York listening to the broadcast.
Oh, that's
last
right,
week,
New York.
so
We sent a thing from New York. He was speaking Spanish on my phone. I didn't understand it, but I knew it was him.
Friday Night Locker Room at SpaceCoastDaily.com, truly worldwide.
Absolutely. Worldwide and very exciting, guys. And we're very excited for a new season here. Starts up Friday of this week. And we're very excited here at SpaceCoastDaily.com and the Friday Night Locker Room Show. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.